that contemplates what needs to be done in the informal settlements, we will never be able to deliver the right to education on an equitable basis or equal basis to children in informal settlements. So I would want to know, number one, what has stopped you from initiating a conversation to have an intergovernmental agreement, similar to the one you're saying about food, around the management of ECDE function within the schools? As you put it yourself, the property is yours, the schools were yours. So it's actually about you handing over a portion of that to national government, more than national government ceding anything to you. What has stopped you from having a collaborative agreement that enables you to take charge of the ECD function within the public schools? I want to give all the questions so that we move. Secondly, have you had any public participation concerns to listen to parents and learners in informal settlements to understand what they're going through in order to plan on how to provide for them? I know informal settlements are difficult to plan for, but under the NMS, we took hospitals to informal settlements because we were recognizing that the right to health accrues to them on an equal basis as others. So we must find a way of providing public services. What is it that Nairobi County will do 13 years after devolution to ensure that the children of those in informal settlements access education equally? I have looked at the numbers you gave me earlier, and you have, in my question, you had given me 227 ECD, public ECD centers. I think in the committee answer you have given 230, and I did ask that you give me a breakdown of how many of these public ECD facilities are located in informal settlements, and the breakdown you gave me brought me to 31 out of this lot. 31 are informal settlements. And yet, the bulk of the population that requires this is in informal settlements. Chair, in my question, I actually asked for the population, and you gave me the figure of 762 persons aged below 6 who require ECD services. So my question is, if you don't have a policy, how is your department planning for these learners? Or are these learners just left to fate and left to the mothers? As you have put it, in your feeding program, some of those children carry the food home because the situation is dire. So if the kids are sharing, the little public food is there, what is happening to those families around accessing actual education? It is something I would want you to look at. Secondly, I would want to know whether you have grants or any part contribution from partners on the school feeding program, and if so, how much have you received in that regard? But linked to my first question, if you had policy or if you have it, I would want to know, what are you deliberately planning around support to the informal settlements so that we move from a paltry 31 facilities to support them, because the rest are actually supporting the middle class and the upper middle class. You have made reference to care centers, and I think care centers makes sense for urban areas like Nairobi. Could actually be useful facilities for purposes of supporting single mothers and families that need actually to go out and look for livelihoods. I would want to know whether you also have a policy around care centers, how that differs from ECD, and whether you are actually deploying any budgetary allocations towards these care centers. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Kenywa?
Okay, Madam Chair.
Governor, I think it's easier that way, isn't it?
Madam Chair, there was a big story about 1 million chapati, which you made every student or learner in Nairobi believe that they'll be eating chapati every other day. I don't know whether it was a political statement or it happens. Because looking at what you have provided, you give for feeding program, I'm not seeing anything like, or anything close to chapati. Secondly, I'm looking at the budget. Your recurrent budget is drastically reducing. What does that mean? Is it that maybe some of your employees are retiring? Or what's exactly the reason? Because it's your budget. If I look at the year 2022, recurrent was 2, and the year 2023-2024 was 1.9. The year 2024-2025 was 1.8. So why the reduction? My third question is, Governor, how many ECDs have you built yourself in your term? And are they fully furnished? Because I heard you explaining and I could not understand. You said the ECD centers in Nairobi, your explanation keep on differing, but it's standard. It is provided for in the policy. What is an ECD center? Would it change in Nairobi? You talked about enrollment. Because of the feeding program, the enrollment increased by 29%. Is this because of food, or is it an act of God? Because the population is increasing. It goes without saying, when the population increases, of course the enrollment will go up, whether you are feeding the children or not. So would you say with authority the 29% is caused by the feeding program? Again, did you inherit any of your teachers from the default? Well, Nairobi was a city. Did you inherit the people from the default city council? Was it city? Nairobi was not city council. City council, yeah. Did you inherit from the city council? And lastly, Governor, you mentioned about the criteria for you to issue bursaries, and you mentioned you have complied, Muranga, Makueni, okay. And the trend is very good because all these governors who have complied, they're all senators, which is very good. But you're missing the fourth one, who I don't know who he is. But what is the criteria? Because basically that's not your function, to be issuing bursary to secondary school and to colleges. What is the criteria, so that at least, because many of the governors who are coming here, they're telling us, who was telling us they have the pending bill? I think some governor came here and told us having pending bills. Are you not reading from the same script so that they would know what they're supposed to do so that they can be allowed to give bursary, which is not their function? But of course we understand when there's difference between what the law says and what is on the ground. Now, you know, my work is to skiza ground. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you. I think I don't want to ask mine now so that you finish, but I want to only add one thing to what he's saying. You mentioned earlier, Governor, that this was transfer of functions, actually. The intergovernmental relations agreement that you have signed is a transfer function. Was money followed? Is there money that was allocated to this function because it was transferred? Because even if it is bursary, we are talking of the agreement you signed, I think had bursary in it, and then you also mentioned that there is a 1 shilling to 1 shilling agreement. Does that bring back the functions, or what does it mean to transfer the function? You finish those, then I will ask my questions.
I'll start with the last one. Chair, the intergovernmental agreement or a requirement of the control of budget. If you ask many of us as governors, we don't see the bursary or scholarship support as a function that is being transferred. It is social protection, and social protection actually is a function of the county. Because the function of education is teaching the child, it is building those classrooms, it is paying teachers. We're not doing that. What we're doing is giving support. But the requirement was given by the control of budget, and we're just pragmatic that, okay, if the control of budget insists that we should do an intergovernmental agreement, all counties did the intergovernmental agreement and signed. Gazetting, 4 of us have gazetted them. Notification to the county assembly. So she's using Article 187. And so we're being pragmatic, saying, okay, if that is what you insist to do, because you can imagine, Chair, a child who is in Form 2 on our bursary, which we have committed to from Form 1 to Form 4, and suddenly the money is not there. Where does that child go?
Yeah, we understand.
So we're just being pragmatic.
Yeah, we understand you. I want you so that you clarify that one answer.
But there's no money for it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the issue of social protection.
Yeah.
If you go for social protection, you'll do everything under social protection. But you have your own social protection even in health that is not sufficiently done. You have your social protection on these babies who are in formal sectors that is not done properly.
Yeah.
What as a committee we are interested in is the budget that has been given to a sector called education.
Yes.
And we are telling ourselves, what exactly must we do in that education sector? Must we be paying a university student who can go on strike if they don't get their right money? Because in fact the impact of that bursary to university did not stop the strikes. They went on strike because they didn't like the formula. They don't care who is going to do it, but they have said that we must go back to the original formula. So, although we have baptized it social protection, and you know this because you are a senator, we have baptized it social protection, we are affecting other sections, and we will be able to show you when we go to the VTCs what we are talking about. Of course, my biggest worry is what you mentioned, the numbers of your ECDE.
Yeah.
The numbers.
This
is Nairobi. How can we be having this? But I hope you'll be able to give us also the figures of the number of primary schools you have, because I don't believe the primary schools in Nairobi are 230.
They're 210 actually, not 30.
210,
yes.
Which is a disaster to begin with.
Yeah.
So it means we must build double the number of CCDs in between.
So
let me allow you to finish it, then we'll come back.
Yes, so Chair, what we're doing, that is a number that has been there since I was in class 2, Now I'm the governor, I have to build, and that's what we're building. That's why we're building 5,000 classrooms in this city. We don't have to build, you see, Nairobi is not like many counties that have vast distances. You may not need a new school, but you can build more classrooms. You can go up. You don't have to look, because land is extremely expensive in the city. If an acre of land is costing you 200 million shillings, that would be how many classrooms, So what we're doing is adding more classrooms within the same centers, and then employing more teachers. Where we have land, like the example I've given, where we have public surrenders, of land, when you do a subdivision scheme, and 10% comes to the county, is where we can do new schools. Chair, on the intergovernmental agreement, to fund or to allow counties to also issue scholarships and bursaries. And I'll give you the figures that I said were different. In 22-23, for instance, we gave bursaries to 134,127 children. 134,127 children. And scholarships to 4,988. Scholarships are those who've done well in class 8, and so you support them from Form 1 to Form 4. In 2023-24, it was 119,000 children. That's 500 million, 595 million shillings, and 5,100 scholarships, because now we onboarded a new Form 1 class. The reason why, Senator Kinyua, you're saying the recurrent budget went down, was once the controller of budget stopped the issuance of scholarships and bursaries, in a supplementary we removed it, because then you need that figure to balance something different. So that is why you see a sharp reduction in recurrent, because that is a recurrent expenditure. Development expenditure has been either constant or going up because it includes construction of ECD centers, or construction of central kitchens, or just renovation of the facilities that we have. Chair, Nairobi needs that affirmative action in the number of schools it has. And I've explained the context because I was born and I have grown up in this city. I know how the city was before multipartyism and how it became after. And many of you are older, including the senator who is my cousin, who I will not mention because it's very difficult. But she's my auntie. So, you know, because of age, I call her auntie. So, auntie senator, there's a reason why this infrastructure was not built. I'm sure that you've seen a clip one day, I even shed a tear. Because that child needs a fair chance at life. No child chooses to be born in the slum or in the informal settlement. And the prerogative we have is to give them equality of opportunity. That a child born in Madari can have the same shot at life as a child born in Karen. The equalization is education. And if the thing that is bringing them to school is that they will get a meal and they will get off the streets. Chair, when I drive in this city, during the holidays, I find kids, whether it is outside Lavington, those children who will find there, and they come to me, they know my car, and ask them, why are you guys out here? They say, you know, during the holiday, there's no food. So we have to come look for the food. Chair, there's a young girl called Mildred, who, when we were doing scholarships last year, 2024, January, I met her. It was at Nairobi Milimani. She was wearing this watch. So I asked her, Mildred, you're getting a scholarship to go to Form 1. This watch is only for primaries. All my children wear this. This is a tab to it. This is what we use to verify that we have permission. This child is called Kavindo, and maybe there's this allergy or not. I can even tell how many children have gone to school today based on this. Yeah. So she was still wearing it. So I asked her, Mildred, why are you wearing this? And she said she's an orphan in Kangemi. She's been living with her grandmother. She had never gone to school for 3 days straight until, and so she was performing very badly. Until when we introduced this program in 3rd term of 2023, is when she went to school for every day. She moved from the bottom of her class to top 10 in the city. And she got a chance to go to Loreto Convent, Limuru. So she said, because, yes, quoted, your school. So she said, because of this, yeah. So she said, because of having this chance at an education, she will never remove it. So in fact, now what I have to do is to keep refreshing her watch, because it's a symbol for her. The reason I wear it, I don't eat in those schools, but it's a commitment. It reminds me of the commitment to these children. And Senator Kinywa, 29% is because of food. The population does not grow by 29%. The population of Nairobi grows by 4%, 3 to 4% annually. I was talking to the headmaster of Hospital Hill Primary School. The head teacher tells me they have a waiting list of 6,000 parents who want to bring children to that one school because of food. So yes, what we've done is a pilot. We've shown that it is possible, that it can be done consistently. To date, we've done 60 million meals. 60 million, meaning we fed the whole country, plus 10 million. It is scalable. And now with these regulations, and we'll have the board, you will see your people, you know, whether it is your Safaricom CEO, the KPMG, who are not sitting in that board, and a secretariat. Nairobians can be able to support a child or sponsor a child, and for it to be audited. So, Chair, for the bursaries and the food, there has been no additional budgetary allocation. But our intergovernmental agreement on food specified a shilling for shilling matching. It just hasn't been done. And so the national government owes us that money. They owe us, and if you can help us get it, we'll be very happy. But it's a commitment made, it's on paper, it is signed. When I go to Senator Kinywa's questions, before I come to Senator Catherine Muma, the percentage growth is directly attributable. And I'll be very happy to table a report, Chair, of a study being done by the University of London, College of Hygiene and Health Sciences, on the health outcomes of these children. These children are much healthier. We're actually monitoring. Chair, every day we have labs. And I'd like, by the way, if this committee one day can come on a tour for me to showcase what this process is, from beginning to end, and we go to the schools. I would really...
We actually to counties after meeting the governor. We go to the counties. So we are coming.
Wonderful. That will be great. And so we test we have our labs. Every single cauldron used, container used, every surface. When the food goes to school, the temperature is checked. If it is below a certain temperature, that food is not served. The container is sealed. The trucks are specialized. You know, it is a high, it is a highly logistical exercise, and I thank God that we've, you know, it has been successful for the time it has been there. You know, I don't want to cause karma by saying anything, but we have had no single incident since 2023, that time to 2025. The question on the chapatis, you know, it was humorous, but it's a real, you know, the children really wanted it, and they really want it. And so the 1 million came because I was saying, look, if I feed 300,000 and each one takes 3, of course that comes to close to 1 million, but doesn't mean that you'll do that every single day. The machine that we have found does 6,000 to 8,000 a day. One has been paid for by the president. We are procuring the other one. And so some schools now can have it, you know, it's not every day. You know, some schools can have today in one part of the city, we're in 6 barrows. Another barrow can have the next day or another day, but the children love it. You know, school feeding cannot be how it was when we were kids, where you're given food that is boring, that you don't enjoy. It has to be nutritious, but also tasty and also exciting for the children, you know. And our food is actually very, very tasty. It is nice. One day, if you walk down the road,
maybe Governor, as you're talking on that, so that I don't come back to it,
yeah.
School feeding programs.
Yeah.
What is the relationship between building kitchens and having a service provider?
So the service provider, Chair, runs the service. The infrastructure is ours. So we built 17 of these central kitchens. Each of them does between 15 to 20,000 meals. But the employees there, running the buses, sourcing the food, you know, whether it is carrots, tomatoes, whatnot, is done by someone we have contracted, called Food for Education. Because one, we saw that they have actually skin in the game, because they have a huge kitchen that already built. When I was in the Senate, you remember when we had the Mang Bills bill by Senator Enoch. You know, I spoke about what I saw in the Senate. Remember during COVID, there was a lot of vandalism that happened in schools. And so with friends of mine, I went to donate some desks in a few schools, in Olympic, in Dagoretti North, Katina Primary, and in Kinyanjui Road Primary. When I went to Kinyanjui Road Primary in these schools, normally when you go there, they'll say, oh, Senator Kinyua, we're happy to see you, we're excited. Then you ask the children, what do you want? They would say, we want a basketball, or they would say they want a school bus. But children started saying, we want food. And so I tried to bring an amendment into that bill to say that the national government must provide for school feeding by getting it from the farmers. Unfortunately, the bill didn't see light of day. I think it was reintroduced in this Senate. The number of counties that actually are contributing, you know, to the program, I would love to list for you, including, now unfortunately Uasin Gishu is not benefiting because our product is maize and we're not doing ugali yet. But some parts of the city actually the children want ugali. That is Westlands, Kangemi and Kangware. The children are saying, I don't know why. But they're saying that. But I've just forgotten. There's something specific you've asked. Sorry?
I think you have answered that one.
Yeah.
It was a relationship between
so the infrastructure is ours.
And the infrastructure.
Yeah.
Because some of these ideas, Governor, some of the ideas you give us, we also transmit to other governors.
Yeah.
So where we have something positive, we pick from you. Where we have something negative, we tell you what the others have done.
So I was explaining when I saw that issue in the Senate, and I went to those schools. I was invited to a school called Mukarara Primary by the MP for Dagoretti South. Mukarara Primary had one kitchen built by this, or rather run by